8Vance is the market leader in recruitment. They have trained their AI on a staggering 85 million resumes. Let 8Vance also accurately predict the best job for your candidates. Go to 8vance.com to read more about their solutions. 8Vance, not just a recruitment tool, but a paradigm shift in work tech.
Yes, here we are again. Welcome back to the AI in Recruitment, the podcast that explores the latest developments in AI, as known as artificial intelligence, and its impact on the recruitment industry. My name is Martijn Hemminga, and next to me is not next to me, on the other side of the table.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're in a slightly different location than usual. So
we are. So, not next to me is our guest. That over there is Jasper Spanjaart.
Oh, good pronunciation this time.
Yes,
usually
it's Jasper Spanjaart.
Yeah, you mess it up usually.
Yes, but we are recording on a special location, on the brand new office of Geert-Jan Waasdorp's companies.
And your company.
Some we do together. So that's. But you're the director, CEO of talent intelligence company Intelligence Group.
Yes.
And co-founder of the AI startup
Recruitagent.ai.
Yes.
We're going to talk about a lot. And a lot of other companies, but that's for this setting, not that
relevant.
Not as relevant.
I think
maybe.
Geert-Jan, we've known each other for a couple of years now. I think people would describe you as a serial entrepreneur. Would that be correct?
That's correct, yes.
So, for those listening and who have no idea who Geert-Jan Waasdorp is, I can't imagine there's many, but there's going to be few out there. Would you introduce yourself?
Well, I would normally say I'm the founder, CEO of Intelligence Group, and participating in a lot of companies that are between data, recruitment, labor market, always looking for what attracts the candidate. So we're not focusing that much on the demand side of the market, but we're more focusing on the supply side of the market. What drives a candidate? What makes them tick?
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that data or having that unique data provides employers an advantage on the market because they can do their employer branding and recruitment marketing better. And that's what the companies are more than 20 years about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we're doing smart things with data, with dashboarding, with being creative with data and getting more out of data than only the answer yes or no. And since last year with AI coming up, well, that changed everything again. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're in a really dynamic field of the world because you'll constantly have to evolve, I assume, working with data because the data has evolved over the past few years. Would that be correct?
Well, the data itself is still zeros and ones.
Yeah.
So that's the basic. But if you see what we are measuring, well, I can easily say when I started in 2002,
mm-hmm.
that was still newspapers who were ruling the labor market and Stepstone, Monster Board, that kind of job boards were coming up and getting more ahead. And after the crisis in 2002, 2003, you've seen the years following, they become market leader, but they were challenged in the next crisis by Indeed, by LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then we're going into, 2012, 2014. And then you see new developments with mobile phones, with social media and changing behavior of candidates in the market. And today, if you want to communicate with a candidate, you use WhatsApp.
Exactly.
But if I would talk to you 5 years ago and I would say, well, you have to use WhatsApp. You say, no, I will not use WhatsApp because that's the private domain of the candidate.
I would tell you to bugger off. I still tell you to bugger off now, but yeah.
But it's the main. That's the main channel to communicate with your candidates. There are also candidates who prefer chatting over calling or emailing, or some don't even have an email. So research didn't change that much. The answers did.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and if you look at how most companies communicate with their potential talents, it's not via WhatsApp.
No, that's there's it's still email or an ATS system that's outdated, but I think maybe recruiters want to use WhatsApp, but corporate guidelines they are not allowed, or the IT systems don't make it possible.
This podcast is obviously called AI in Recruitment for a reason.
Oh,
I think it's the first 3 minutes of the podcast that we haven't mentioned AI once, so that's a good sign. But you mentioned Geert-Jan, because I'll be curious. You've seen a lot change in the dynamic of how companies interact with candidates, how companies put themselves out there, how companies analyze data. What have you seen happen in the last, say, 2 years when, AI entered the scene on a broad scale? It was there before, but...
Well, everybody's talking about it. It's like the teenage sex. Everybody's talking about it. No, nobody's doing it. And that's AI. So everybody is curious. Nobody really wants to miss it, but we see it, and then we go on with the things we are normally doing. We tried ChatGPT. I think now not even 5% of the people that tried it have a paid account, or even now the Teams account. So they know it, and they are not, maybe they are using it like 30 minutes a week, trying it, doing some real fast stuff in it, but not really learning to work with it, to adapt it, to see what's the benefits of it. I think $20 for this kind of technology and getting access to that and making your own profiles and GPTs, and it's nothing. But $20 is for the most of my clients, or most of the recruiters I see in training, and they are interested in AI. Those $20 is too much.
Is it too much, you feel like?
No, I think it's a cheap. It's the cheapest investment you can ever make. But
is it just the case then, because it was free once, people want it for free forever? Is that simply the case, or
I don't get? It was maybe by 2 months free or so.
Yeah, a fool with a tool is still a fool. I'm thinking of. So people, the first time I used it, it was like a search engine. So I typed something, and think, that's not the answer, and not chatting with it and making the outcome better. I still think a lot of people not using it the right way and think, why should I pay for the version, or not using it still within HR and recruitment, still using it not on a regular basis. They tried last year, 2023. Then they were busy with a lot of other things. Yeah. Also in the company is not important or not allowed, or so they think, okay, maybe later, and going to their regular business.
And that's the business as usual. They are too busy to learn this new. It's really a new skill you have to learn.
Yeah,
and you have to adopt your processes to adjust to AI. If I look at intelligence group, and everybody's enthusiastic about AI, but I need to address time in the agendas to learn how to work with it. Well, it's especially for the marketeers. They love it much more than development. Well, you see now development also adapting it, especially to see how to when they make mistakes or they don't know their errors. It gives them answers to fill in the gaps. But the marketing is really using it, and then for content or for doing smart stuff. Yeah. But if I compare it today to, let's say 10 months ago, if I see the content now that ChatGPT gives me, I don't have the feeling it has been has been better, of devolved in getting better. Well, we create better prompts.
True.
I see it looks like it's the variety that and the creativity that it had 12 months ago. I miss it today a little bit. It gives me much more answers on the secure side.
Are you getting used to it?
Is that just
not surprising anymore? Or
I think it's also a little bit about the European Union looking with the answers. I don't think I think they are not making. They're not taking that much risk with the answer, so they just limited what is possible with ChatGPT. But we are using it, and we are creating productivity with it, and it's giving answers, and it is inspirational and creative. But I don't only want to talk about ChatGPT because that's fun, but I really, really love Bart.
Yeah.
So bart.google.com. That's
your number one.
That's by far my number one, because it's objective. It gives me answers. It gives me the source where it gets the answers from. It's really an academic tool that
feels like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the creativity. So when I need inspiration, but probably I first go and ask about a situation on Bart, and then for answers or a plan or an approach or creativity strategy, I bring it to ChatGPT.
Yeah. We did a comparison last year also about Bart, and we should definitely do it this year again, because
we should do it again because a lot has
a lot.
changed. I feel like I was more inclined to use ChatGPT to begin with, obviously because it was there, and then it felt Google Bard entered the scene too late. I felt it felt like they missed the boat completely, and the prompts I was putting in, I was getting stuff out of there that it made no sense to me. But I feel like in terms of improvement, Google Bard has probably improved more than ChatGPT.
It's an objective tool. It's not. You cannot really compare them because the hallucination of GPT versus objective from Google, and not always true, because you need to really check the answers. And what I really love is DALL-E E3. But DALL-E E3. Also, I did for every presentation. Normally, I went to Google Images. Now I create them by DALL-E E3. But last, I did a prompt, and I said, "Give me a picture about all recruiters are evil." He doesn't give it, because he says we don't put
because it's controversial.
It's controversial. When I said all advocates were evil, he didn't do that also. But that could be true. But when you go to Midjourney gives it. So there's
big difference.
You see, it's limited. Legal limitations you see with ChatGPT. They are on their. I don't know they are. You need to help me.
Starting to creep in the limitations.
No, voorzichtig.
Being careful.
Being careful. Yes, thank you. Sorry.
Last year you were, I don't know what event you were speaking, and you told the audience about ChatGPT. You were lying awake in your bed. So what the fuck is this? What's happening? Also regarding what you do with your data, your talent intelligence company.
Yeah, I said, there happened a couple of things, but this was true. I promised everybody in January I stick to the roadmap of development within the intelligence group, so no new things.
Okay.
And then 2 weeks later, well, first of all, I didn't sleep. Then I did the promise, and then 2 weeks later, I came awake at night, and I said, well, if I'm responsibility for the continuity of this organization, I need to adopt, and I need to be the first, because you probably, if you now go to ChatGPT, you ask ChatGPT, what are the 5 most important job boards in Italy? It will give you an answer, and well, probably 3 out of 5 don't even exist.
True,
but the 2 are. But probably next year it's 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5, and if you go to Bart, it's 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
The most interesting thing is that the source they use is Intelligence Group, but. And then I thought, and Peter from WRFN, the head editor, and well, we said, okay, we don't put our data open to ChatGPT because it will learn, and then my competitive advantage is gone. So we said, are we going to open our data? And I was in doubt of doing that, and then Peter said, well, if you're not doing it, your clients will.
Exactly.
So you maybe delay 3 months, 6 months, and then we said, okay, we throw it open and be ahead of the curve.
Yeah, but I can't imagine, because you've got the responsibility of, like you said, being responsible for the continuity of the company and thinking long term, and then going, right, we're not making any changes, and then the world changes around you. I know that sentence has been overused in every article about AI, but the world changed, and then
this is happening,
and then you had to adapt.
And this is happening, and it will go fast. I expected it to go faster.
Okay.
I expected that it would already be much further than we are today. I also see that there's doubt in using. You need to double check it. It's not that well if you don't use the prompts well. You really need to invest time to learn to work with AI. and then the productivity goes up, and people have to adopt it in their processes of working.
Yeah.
And you cannot do it as another thing. It should be adopted in the work. So I'm very curious what Copilot will do.
Yeah.
Microsoft's Copilot. Yeah.
But this will change. This is already going to change. We are with Intelligence Group working with a team that's doing innovation, and one day in every 2 weeks, the team is only dedicated in working, in adopting and trying new stuff with AI to improve their work, and also to adopt, but also to learn other people in working with that. And I prefer that it would be like 1 day a week, but it's still also business as usual. We still need to make money, and
absolutely.
we don't have the time. But people really get enthusiastic in doing this, and there's so much fun. There's so much new out there.
So before we go, because you are one of the co-founders of Recruitagent.ai.
Yes.
So you just told you are using AI, for marketing, etc. One of the things I read somewhere, it's also you can use it to make analysis on data. You've got a lot of big of data. Is that also you using it already?
I tried it several times. For example, Excel tools to create new pictures or create new graphs.
Okay.
I was disappointed. So, and you see, if you use new AI and you use it like 30 minutes and you try something, and you probably really have to learn what the rules are to work with that AI. And all the examples you see, for example, on Instagram or Threads or X, those examples are really nice. But if you try to do it yourself, it doesn't work that easy as the examples do. But for analyzers, for Excel, for PowerPoint, yes, you can use it. Yeah. Is it already perfect? No. I love DALL-E in my presentations. I didn't use it yet for real analyzers, but I think that will be done within 6 months. Yeah. And so that how we now calculate with R and using SPSS and but R is it's not that difficult, but it's not an easy program to analyze with. Hopefully that a sort of AI will fix that for us.
Yeah, and on your dashboards, because that's what your customers are seeing.
The Giant, you mean?
The Giant, for example, the dashboards with all information. So would it be for the near future, you can add in a prompt asking something, and then you got the answers out of all the. Because I load a lot of tabs with all different data.
I think, Martijn, if we sit here in 27, 28, could be early more, but in a couple of years, that you don't have a dashboard, you just have a chatbot, and you ask, what is the recruitment visibility of this group in Paris, and how to recruit them, and what kind of message, and I think you will do it by talking.
Yeah.
And I think that's that is really that the Giant tool will be like, I don't know if it's a chatbot or something, but I think it will be something that you will communicate it, and also it gives you back feedback, as in, are you looking for a PHP developer or are you looking for a C+ developer? I don't know what that it will give you. That it'll
help you. Yeah. It'll help you come up with the right prompt, recruitment prompt.
Yeah, and then our competitive advantage is that we can that we trained the GPT or we trained the bot, and that it is maybe in a data environment that's really ours. Yeah.
So before we continue this very interesting conversation, I'm going to take the liberty of telling you about our online event coming up on February 1st. We've mentioned the date a few times, the AI in Recruitment Outlook 2024. It's totally free to sign up for. We are diving deep into the way AI is being used in recruitment and looking ahead as 2024 as the year for AI to make an even bigger leap within the industry. You'll get insights from people much smarter than us. Janneke Oostrom, a professor of work and organizational behavior. Martin Redstone will join us remotely from London, and we'll have insights on the new AI Act directly from the European Parliament. So loads of interesting people there. It's all made possible by our wonderful partners, Advance and Text Kernel. who'll also be joining us during the live studio session. So it's possible to register for free. Go to our website, www.ai-in-recruitment.com/outlook2024, or just Google what I've just said, because you'll find it anyway. Are you signing up, Geert-Jan?
Of course I do. Yeah. I was already listening to the podcast, so
it was you.
Yeah,
you were the one.
Yes, we found him.
We found it.
It was me. Yeah.
No, it's good to hear, because we've amassed quite a few listeners over the last year or so doing this, and we've obviously jumped on the train, not claiming to be experts because we're not, but learning along the way from smarter people like you.
Oh well, I think if we've listened to several of experts, and I think it's very difficult to keep being an expert in this area. Okay, you can have vision on where it goes, but vision is never right or wrong. It's just a vision.
Just a vision. Yeah.
What would be interesting is the guys who are working with it and are really integrating this into new tooling in business, in getting recruiters, for example. We're now talking about recruitment. I think the biggest challenge will be that not to convince management to do something with AI, because it really increases productivity, and productivity needs to be increased within within recruitment.
Yeah.
I think the biggest challenge is, are recruiters going to work with it? So, for example, you have the OpenAI API within many ATS systems, and let's say Otis or any other ATS, and you already can use it by clicking use or give me a recommendation what I could do with my vacancy text, and nobody's pushing the button. So we really need to tell and train and enthusiast recruiters start using this kind of productivity tools. And I think in that way it's comparable to any other tool in the market.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that the productivity effect of the AI tooling coming up is bigger than we saw before.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a topic that we went over with Martin Redstone, who just mentioned, who's joining us on February 1st, because he'd worked with conversational AI for years. And all of a sudden you saw on LinkedIn, everyone suddenly became an AI expert, right? And I thought to myself, what are these people pushing out? Because you're not adding to the conversation. I feel like you're just creating a sort of tsunami of information, and it'll just lead to recruiters, like any target group in the world, thinking, oh wow, what's happening? I need to jump on this. Oh, I need to do this, need to do that, rather than just think of problems that you want to solve, and think of how AI could potentially be of any type of solution, and that. But it's interesting to see how just people saw it as an easy way to make a few bucks out of being an expert.
Well, we are doing conferences on AI. We are in the best read articles on Werven or True Talent are about AI. Yeah. This is the topic. Everybody is curious. There are many very inspirational examples, but again, reading it is something else than doing it. And doing it's easy, prompting. I think good prompting is very difficult. And then we have all the magic books on how a prompt works. But I guarantee you, the prompt that you used yesterday gives you a different result. Well, within a second later, but especially a week or 2 weeks later, because the algorithms are changing. The AI Act will change the results. Yeah. I'm very curious on what kind of AI we are talking in 3 months, in 6 months. Is really ChatGPT-5 coming up, and how strong will that be? I heard, and that's like a rumor from the AI guys, that maybe you heard it also, that the problem is not that ChatGPT-5 is not already there. The problem is there's no computer capacity to that we can start using it. And then I say, okay, make it very expensive. I will buy it. Yeah, because I see what
it's one of the discussions that's not been had. I recently spoke with a company that's responsible for putting out data centers out in the world, and they say, well, we just can't keep up because there is so much demand for energy that AI, because it's funny how we're in the middle of an environmental crisis and everyone's talking about the environment. Well, we've just invented AI and it's taken up more energy than any other machines or computers. You know, that we have to build supercomputers everywhere to keep up with the demand. So, like you said, probably the best solution, make it $500 a month.
Yeah.
Few people would buy it.
I would buy it.
Yeah. I really see talking
and share it.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, about shares, we talked last episode about the shares of Nvidia. If you had them.
Oh, that's a missed opportunity.
They are mentioned by the top 7 big IT companies in the world. Yeah. Nobody knew them a year ago.
I was looking at their stock yesterday, but it's still going up. Like you need to put up a hefty sum to even get some, but I can't imagine that being worth any less in a couple of years.
Yeah, but I even speak to a lot of people who say about the $20 question. Yeah, and I still use the free version. So I think the big companies and in the training there was last a company using their own box. So all the data is not sent to America, etc. And there are some. I don't know what the price is. Do you know it?
The 25. You have now the 25.
New version, right?
The new version. I saw it a couple of days ago.
And then the data is not sent to.
Yeah, it's private in your.
That's private. It's
okay. Well, they say it's private,
but
and you can share it with.
Saying they're private. Yeah,
it's you can share it with your team.
Yeah, okay.
And then they can send it to America.
Yeah, well. Yeah, like the data is not already in America. We are working on. If we're not working on Google, we are working in Microsoft.
Exactly. So it's US dominated anyway.
Before we go to let's go to the other company, which is a startup, recruitagent.ai. What is it?
I would easily say it's an AI recruiter, and then it's not doing the matches yet because. We know based on data and on the APIs available that we also can do matches based on the employee APIs available, but also on the data available in ATS systems. But if I have to see it now, it's more recruitment marketing AI. So it will help you. It will do like a 4-minute intake.
Okay,
intake is really, really good, especially when you make your own profile.
Yeah,
if you make your own profile. It can also say, okay, you're an agency, then you get different questions. You can use it for more clients. If you put in some of your employer brand pictures, it will create a nice brochure. We call it like a vacancy pitch, but also your own website. But after a 4-minute intake, might be 5. It's a smart intake, so it uses data from intelligence group, but it also uses based on your answers already. Answers based on your answers, we shoot it to OpenAI, and it already gives back some relevant skills. For example, that you are looking for in an occupation. Now, let's say 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah,
your intake is ready. You can translate it to any other language that you want. It gives you a vacancy text or job text, and then you can distribute it to any other place in the world. So you can push your job text in 5 minutes to Japan or Brazil, or just to Rotterdam. It doesn't really in that language.
Yeah,
of course you cannot check it unless you can read Portuguese or Spanish or. But you get your media advice, and that's again based on on the data of intelligence group, but also on the data from Vonk or Brockmeyer or Raven 51 or some other distribution parties. So that APIs are being used. It gives you also an advice of which agencies you can call. So it has fixed and it has temp in it. It gives you an insight in how difficult it is to recruit. So you see a lot of data from intelligence group and other APIs being
used in a different way.
Yeah, and for free.
And because we tried it for free. We tried it as one of the job vacancy generators, AI generators that we found, because there's a lot out there, but they are just job vacancy generators. There's not much else than text there. Yeah. So you're clearly trying to approach it in a slightly different way and adding multiple data points.
Yeah, and I think the multiple data points is helpful, like also the skills or education. But I also say when the output you get, you really need to check it. It's like a starting point for creating a good job tag. So I think when you're writing a job text, it has the fundamentals, but let's say you're doing it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
I think the most difficult part is the starting point, the basic for the job text. And from a basic, let's say 80, if you have 80%, the final 20% are always easy.
Yeah.
Now you get on an easy way. The 80%, you still have to do the other 20% to make it perfect, and then you can distribute it.
Yeah, and what I really like was it's already something like a conversation you have. It's getting precise questions, and so you answer that, and then you go on. Sometimes it's an open question. Sometimes you got some buttons. Multiple choice. So and that's what we already discussed. It's rubbish in is rubbish out. If you put rubbish on ChatGPT and say, what the crap is this?
Then you're going to get
maybe it's because
your prompt's bad, or your
prompt is bad,
or your ID is bad. Yeah. With that being said, we've got some AI news to cover.
Yes, I hear something. AI news.
Martijn, what do you have for us?
Officially, because maybe it doesn't sound we prepared this, but we prepared this, and I had one thing. But of course, it's not the first time.
Oh, you came up with 2.
Oh. I have 11 things.
No way.
No.
We're giving you 30 seconds.
But it was possible because I was sending some items to Jasper, I think, around the weekend.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of information. So I had to choose. So I chose for that AI affects almost 4 in 10 jobs in the world, and that is because the World Economic Forum in Davos, there was the International Monetary Fund published an research about it. So I'm now going to read the whole research. No, I've got some snippets out of it. So richer countries could benefit from the advantages of new technical capabilities, but also the job losses are bigger in the richer countries, and could also pressure on the wages. And that's if I speak to people, some people say it's democratizing the world, so there will be a less gap between rich and poor, or but in this time the UN organization says no, there will be more inequality around the world.
More
due
inequality.
to AI, more, because we speak to others.
We could look to the folks at NVIDIA who've just become crazy, filthy rich over 2 years' time.
Yeah,
I think the richer will get rich.
Yeah.
I think that's always the case with new technology. It's not suddenly going to make a country like Somalia stand out, and it's just not going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah. So what do you think? It's make the gap bigger or smaller between?
I think the few that are rich are getting
more.
Getting richer.
They get so much richer, and I read that, and I don't think I don't know if it was this research, but that the jobs that were affected by AI were predominantly female jobs.
Oh, I read that too. Yeah.
So that's that might be the inequality.
Thank you, AI.
More.
It leads to more inequality and more, rich people getting rich.
I think we the question we also asked Martijn Wester, and he said, I think it was Martin, because we do a lot of interviews.
Martin and Martin, yeah.
So, we don't know that. And the other thing was a small one.
Just a small news item.
It's a Workday survey. They found out that there's a significant gap between employees and employers regarding AI. The survey found that only 39% of employees believe that their employers are using AI responsibly.
So that leaves 61%.
Responsibly, yeah.
Okay. Geert-Jan, what do you think?
Are you?
I thought of when I read that, I think this was a really strange question. I probably a lot of people don't even know how to make a judgment about AI, and then they ask this. But maybe this says more about the trust they have in their employer than in how their employer will use AI. Because I think a lot of them don't use AI. So probably it's more something that's not about AI, but in general the trust they have and they feel towards their employer.
Maybe they asked it only in Chinese companies, but we can't publish this anymore in China.
We've just ruined any potential China sponsorships. Thanks, Martijn.
Okay,
just another market that's just been destroyed in a couple of seconds.
They're only living. How much people are living there?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I saw them play football the other day. China, the Asian Cup's going on, like the European Championship of Asia, because you got to watch something at 2:30. So I watch China play, and you think to yourself, "There's so many people in China. Surely they can find 11 people who can play football."
No.
Well, turns out it's not the case.
Okay,
they're a horrible football team.
Well, I know a city in the Netherlands that also has the same.
Has
problem,
a horrible football team. Says the Feyenoord fan.
Yes.
Yeah. So some quick news from me also. I usually try to find something slightly different. So I came across an article about Google scientists who discovered 380,000 new materials using AI. They call it the Materials Project. It's an open access database for new materials, and they just found an extraordinary amount of new data and new materials. So Google DeepMind contributed with 400,000 new compounds. And they say, I love the word synergy, so synergy always pops up in press releases like that. But the synergy of AI, supercomputing, and experimental data speeds up the creation of materials for applications like renewable energy, efficient electronics, and environmental solutions. So AI will save the planet.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank God. Thank God. Any news that stood out to you? Because you read a lot, don't you, Geert-Jan?
But I try to read less because I really love the focus. So we're now focusing on getting better productivity, focusing on how to create a better UX on the AI that we have. But yesterday we start trying a new AI that's called Pika.8. And it is not like new, maybe 2 months old. But you can make a movie of 7 seconds.
Okay.
So you could write a prompt.
Yeah.
And you create a situation. And I had yesterday a happy controller accepting a new job. And the movie was about a female controller in a situation of an application. And very happy that she
got the job.
She got the job. And it was like a movie of 7 seconds. And
crazy.
Why do I? Yeah, and I think it's like $60 for a month. So you can create a lot of stuff for your socials or promoting and they don't have an API yet because I was testing it for Recruit Agent because if I'm looking for a controller in a certain company, that same job text can also be a prompt for a video tooling that we can use for images on Facebook or even on TikTok. So this is growing fast, and we want to be ahead of the curve and testing it and having a lot of fun. And this is really disrupting. And if this is already now possible, there's much more possible than this, but we can do this on an easy way. Let's see where it is in 6 months or 9 months.
Yeah, full feature films.
Yeah,
as a documentary filmmaker, I'll be expendable. No, but
7 minute snippet.
7 minutes. 7 minutes.
It's a full movie.
I mean, if it's 7 seconds now, it'll take a while before they get to 90 minutes, won't it? I mean,
so a prompt, 5 lines.
Have you read? By the way,
90 minutes.
Have either of you read any books wrritten by AI?
No.
I tried.
Know. I think
I tried. I found one on Amazon, and it's claiming to be it's one of the best books by AI. Well, it's one of the first, so it's bound to be one of the best. It's awful.
But if I now write a blog, I will put in not written by AI, and I see content writers work for us. And you see instantly
whether it's ChatGPT or not.
Yeah, well, it's like English words I don't recognize. It's not for the target audience. No. So there's definitely, if I have to read something that's created by AI, I refuse. Because I really like to read something from you, Jasper, or from Martijn, your opinion, your vision. And you can check by Bart, or you can check or be inspired.
Sure.
Yeah. But it needs to be, I don't want to, it's not on the quality yet that it is appealing and attracting to me to read.
Yeah. No. Let alone in 300 pages.
No
Not
way.
worth your time.
Yeah. So we're not. We do this podcast, but we're claiming not to be the experts ourselves. How do you feel about the average recruiter? What do you think?
Well, the average recruiter is definitely not an expert in AI. By far, it isn't. But it's curious, and I don't think a recruiter should be an expert in AI. I think a smart recruiter knows how to write a prompt. A smart recruiter is somebody who finds other colleagues or peers within other companies or in their own company to say, okay, let's work at least one night or 4 hours a week to try to investigate and be ahead of the curve in seeing what this can bring to our occupation in smarter sourcing, smarter matching, that kind of stuff. Just by thinking, how can my daily work be more predictive? I think that every recruiter should do that, because a recruiter that does that, well, if you have a skill prompt engineering, or you can prove that you created more productivity, I'll guarantee you will make more money than you ever did before within 12 months. But to be honest, even if they are listening now, I don't expect 1% of the recruiters really making that step forward. There will be, and if we have them on conferences, probably in like Brian Pereboom, if we have them on, he's flying high, and but if we have those persons on conferences, and if the peers, the recruiters, can convince other recruiters, that's the moment then that it will fly. But till that moment,
it takes some time still. So I know you have to run another meeting, Geert-Jan. So what I would suggest is we do the ChatGPT news later. And then we skip to the final question.
Well, we'll look forward on February 1st to what's going to happen within the world of AI and recruitment. Let's just keep it at this year, 2024. Geert-Jan, what's your prediction?
Well, to be honest, I don't expect that there will be a lot of changes. I think the biggest changes in the adoption phase. Mm-hmm. So we had some conversations with WRFN, with a lot of tech partners, and by average, everybody said, well, we thought it would revolutionize the world, and probably it will. Yeah. But it didn't do it in 23. Probably will not do it in 24, and maybe even not in 25. It's like the Gartner curve. So we're on a hype cycle, and
in
then
the valley of disillusionment.
We're going to be there, because we also see that. Well, it's not magic. What's the output? And so it's not one prompt and you get the answer. No, it's a conversation. You need to take an hour to get a real good answer.
You have to work.
You really have to work. So that's the disappointment. And probably in 24, I hope in 24 or in 25, there will be several best practices and great cases that will convince the rest of the industry. And if that happens, then it will fly. I saw that happening with the users of WhatsApp, with Facebook, with any other, even with LinkedIn. Nobody was losing LinkedIn. That's a professional network. You're not going to use that to hunt. That was really
and that was the only platform they used to hunt.
So I think in this year we can experiment. You're not behind if you start today. You could just by reading and listening to this podcast know what you should do. You can focus and go ahead of the curve.
Nice.
Yeah, I think before we take up another half hour,
thank you.
That was very good.
Normally it's like 30 minutes, isn't it?
No, we have a tendency to write something that will be 30 minutes, and then we'll freewheel another 30 minutes. And but if people make it this far, it's a real win for us. So
it is. So you can listen to the AI, the ChatGPT news we have.
Yeah, I will.
After you leave the room.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Geert-Jan.
So that's great. We thought 40-45 minutes would be enough, but no.
No, it's usually the case when we start talking AI, we start talking recruitment, and we start talking about all a bunch of things that, are not part of the script or part of our ideas. Thank you, Geert-Jan. He's leaving the picture as we speak.
Geert-Jan leaves the building. And that was Elvis.
No, there's similarities there for sure.
It's the same. Yes?
You want to go there?
I hear something.
Even in Rotterdam, we can hear it.
ChatGPT News. So, yes, as always, this jingle means it's time for ChatGPT News. And I thought, because we were just talking about the big... the last episode we also talked about the CES was coming, the global electronic show
in Vegas.
In Vegas. So now, if you read, it's already finished now. But Volkswagen is integrating the popular chatbot
What's happened?
ChatGPT into its vehicles, in its cars. So the software will be available in the voice assistant IDA. The automaker announced this at the technology fair, the CES. So they want to make the car communication more natural. And I think my car isn't a German, but it's already 3 years old already. But it has some voice communication, but it isn't that well. But if it's worked like your regular work, and also it's smart enough because you've got all the Siri things. Yeah. So I don't. Hey Google, and now everybody says shh. So that works, but then you have to be really specific. Yeah. Sometimes you have to really say something, and this I assume, because I haven't seen working it. I'm hungry, and
what's the nearest
and
McDonald's?
They know what you like, the Chinese or the McDonald's, or then it will suggest you the right
that's a question though.
Maybe
will
I don't know.
Will it know whether
know.
you've driven to the McDonald's 20 times, you've driven to the Chinese restaurant 25 times? Or?
With smart cars, I know I also have an account with my car, which can be hacked, I think, but I've got an account, so they know where I am, where I've been, and so I'm interested. So I the idea that's the ChatGPT is in a car. I'm curious.
It's everywhere. It's in our car. It's in our bedroom. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Interesting to see where that goes. I've got a bit of news, and I'm not totally sure about the newsworthiness, but I found it pretty funny. A man that we've covered extensively over this podcast, Sam Altman, the CEO and visionary behind OpenAI and ChatGPT.
We should have a sound for him.
Oh, next episode he gets his own sound.
Yeah, we got
he gets his own Sam Altman alert, sort of alarm. Yeah, but he confessed in an interview that he uses Slack more than ChatGPT, which I found really funny. Just like he was asked, I think in an interview with Bill Gates, like what apps do you use in your work to increase productivity? And he says, I'm on Slack all day, and said, I wish I could say it was ChatGPT. I mean, when your visionary man, the colossal behind OpenAI and ChatGPT, says he uses Slack more, but it makes sense. Completely different platform. I like Slack.
Yeah. And the other news, because Geert-Jan mentioned already, you've got the team chat at $25, and you can per person, so you can chat, you can share prompts with your team, etc. So that's something, especially also for recruitment teams. Very interesting to work together, learn from each other prompts, save them, share them,
again,
and results.
It's another capability that is very interesting. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I thought maybe it was cheaper, but it's more expensive because it has more things with it.
When I read it, I thought it'd be for like a team of 5, like it'd be really cheap, but it's obviously $25 per person. Yeah. So if you've got a team of 4, that's $100. Yeah. But again, like Geert-Jan mentioned, for this type of technology, it's actually it's pretty cheap, right?
It's cheap, but also how many recruitment teams are there with the whole team already using ChatGPT very much?
Yeah, true.
Because I know a lot of, and that's with all tools, not only recruitment, but a lot of tools you use. I know I have to look more in a tool like analytics for the website thing. So you have the tool, but are we using it the best way or enough, for example, to make a team out of it? So I think for the early adopter recruitment teams, it's perfect. But I think still a lot of teams or people within recruitment teams have to be a more regular user before it's worth it.
Yeah,
because they're now even not having a paid subscription.
No, I agree, and I liked what Geert-Jan said is the idea that even if you're starting today, it's not too late to start. We're not claiming on this podcast that you need to do this, need to do any of this. But you can just do your work as you see fit, of course. But feel like for myself, being a journalist, being a documentary filmmaker, I'd be stupid not to use it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I view it. Like it'd be crazy for me not to. If I'm struggling to come up with a title for an article, it'd be crazy for me not to go to AI and use that as my co-pilot, whether it be Bard, whether it be Bing or ChatGPT. You have to find a way of allowing it to get into your workspace and just play around with it and see what the benefits are. And it's not going to create a perfect article or a perfect vacancy text or a perfect anything in recruitment. You still need your own brain and your own set of eyes to look at it.
It is.
But yeah, it was an interesting conversation we had today.
And just try, error, using it, try it again.
Fail again. Fail a few more times.
Yes, learning from each other, and listen to AI Recruitment, the podcast.
Absolutely, that's
or watch
the AI and Recruitment Outlook event on February 1st.
Yes,
because it's free, Martijn.
It's free. We have to look in the camera over there.
Free.
It's free.
Totally
you should
free.
join us.
You should join us because we're discovering the latest figures, trends, insights about the use of AI within talent acquisition recruitment. And big thanks to Advance and Text Kernel who've made it all possible for us to do what we do. I've mentioned it a bunch of times, but it's free. Go to our website, sign up. It's an hour and a half. It's a talk show. It's interesting. We will be there, so less interesting.
We'll be there. George Larocque, Bas van den Brank, Mihai Rotaru, the head of R&D from Text Kernel, so that's great.
Good.
Brando Benify.
We'll have an interview there. I'll go to Brussels a day before. Yep.
Yeah, he's from the EU. Janneke Oostrom, Professor of Work and Organizational Psychology. Martin Redstone, Laurens Waling from the Chief Evangelist from Advance.
Yep.
And maybe we are also there.
We're also there. So loads of experts and us.
Yeah, so join us.
And that brings us to the next bit. Thanks to our sponsor for sponsoring this episode, Advance. Advance is the market leader in recruitment. They have trained their AI on a total of 85 million resumes, which, Martijn, is a lot.
It is a lot.
It is a lot. So let Advance accurately predict the best job for your candidates. Go to advance.com to read more about their solution.
That's it. Thank you. See you next time.
Till next time.